And it's taken me like 3 or 4 years, but I've realized that that isn't what I like. I don't like doing nothing. I want to learn new things. Um, I don't want to get old and just coast, right? Hi, welcome to Traveled and Unraveled. I'm Shannon and I'm here to inspire you to travel and create. This is my very first vlog, and I guess I will tell you a little bit about myself. I am 57 years old. I live in New Jersey. I've been married for 32 years. I have two wonderful adult children. I have a travel blog. It's a little bit stagnant, but I'm hoping to revive it. I'll get to that in a little bit. I love to travel. I love to hike. I love to ski, and I love to knit. I also work part-time at a local yarn shop in New Jersey. So, what's the story behind this vlog? Now, I do have some notes, so if you see me looking down, that's it. We're going to talk about that too. I need notes, okay? So, here's the thing. I see my life in three segments. Okay, you've got like birth to 25ish when you're growing. Then you've got 25 to 50ish when you are raising kids, getting married, focusing on your career. Then you've got this last stage of your life, which is where I am right now. So when my kids became adults, that was a little bit of a tough transition for me. Okay. I homeschooled my two kids. So when I went from having them with me all the time to them driving and managing their own lives and not being around me a lot, it was a little difficult. I think everybody has that kind of, whether it's empty nest when your kids go off to college or whatever, you have that transition period. And this happened to coincide with COVID. So my travel blog took a dive. I couldn't travel the way I wanted to. And my kids didn't need me as much anymore. And I kind of got into this like mindset of like, well, this is it, you know? Like like my life's over, you know? And I really didn't have motivation to do much of anything. So I did give myself some time to kind of process and work through all the feelings and all of that. And then I started thinking, I realized if you think about those three segments of your life, like I have a whole nother life to live ahead of me, hopefully, God willing. And I need my brain to be active and learning. I can't just give up. I had told myself that, oh man, I worked really hard for so many years. I was burnout. I did a lot. I provided a lot of great opportunities for my family, raised my kids, homeschooled my kids, and I deserve it. I deserve to just do nothing now. And that is one school of thought. There is nothing wrong with that if you like that. But I realized, and it's taken me like 3 or 4 years, but I've realized that that isn't what I like. I don't like doing nothing. I want to learn new things. I don't want to get old and just coast, right? So I've wanted to start a vlog for many, many years, and I've always been afraid. I've been afraid of the work, the filming and video editing. I've been afraid of the criticism, and also I don't think I'm very good at this. Like I have my notes here, and many, many years ago I had, well, maybe not many, but God, it's probably been 10 years now. My friend Phaedra and I had a podcast. It was called Stinger TV and Movie Podcast, where we talked about TV and movies. One of my favorite things. And it was great. And I would take copious notes to prepare. And she would just roll up and talk. Like, she is so good at speaking naturally, and I would like stumble over my words and lose my train of thought or go off on a tangent. Like, I just never really thought of myself as good at this. Like, I'm a good speaker. I can get up and talk in front of people, but I need notes. I need to be prepared, you know. So that's one thing, like, in addition to learning a new skill like the video editing and all that, which I find really fun and I'm interested in, I also am interested in just cultivating my own ability to speak more naturally. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, I would literally wake up in the middle of the night and think about, you know, having a YouTube channel. So I decided I'm just going to suck it up and force myself to do this and see what happens. You know, there's no pressure here. I'm just going to do it. I watch a ton of knitting podcasts and vlogs. And can I just go off on a little tangent here for a second? See, this is what I do. But it used to be a podcast. When Phaedra and I did a podcast, we had to purchase hosting and you had to have it on, you know, Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all of that. It was just audio. Now everyone's doing a YouTube channel and calling it a podcast. So I don't know, I just find that whole transition kind of interesting. Like, are people still paying for podcast hosting, that like so you can get your podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that? Does that still happen? Like, I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but I think it's very interesting that all of these knitting podcasts are, like, I feel like they're really YouTube channels. That's why I'm not calling this a podcast. It's a vlog. You know, it's going to be about my travels and my life and me rambling and all that. But I love the knitting community and I really want to be a part of it. But I don't really want to do the usual knitting podcast format, you know, like my whips and my FOs and then, you know, pattern. I may do a little bit of that, you know, but mostly I'm just going to talk about what I'm doing and learning in my craft. That's really what I want to do with the knitting part. So for most of my life, I have turned what I love into a job. I've been very successful at that. I'm really proud of it. So it may not be niche enough to do like a travel and knitting vlog, but I don't care, okay? I am a proud member of the We Do Not Care Club. If you follow Melanie, if you know, you know. So this is what it is. And I also want this to be just a documentation of my life. Like, I always think, wouldn't it be cool if we had videos of our grandparents or great grandparents and what their lives were like, and even like what their surroundings looked like. Like, I feel like someday some future generation of mine might enjoy watching these videos. Who knows? So the general format for this vlog is I'm going to be doing some travel inspiration. I'm going to share places I've traveled, and I'm going to talk about what I'm knitting. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please subscribe. And one last thing. I am going to show a little knitting today, but one last thing is, right now, I'm not going to promote this. I'm not telling anybody that I'm doing this. And I'm really curious. You know how you will talk about something or you meet someone and then all of a sudden you're seeing these things all over Instagram and Facebook and ads and all that? They connect people, right? The internet can connect people. They're like, oh, you might know this person because your husband knows this person, that kind of thing. I'm really curious if people will find me, people who I know will find me organically. So if you happen across this video, just leave me a comment that says I found you, because I'm really curious. Eventually I'll promote it, but right now I'm just curious to see what happens. You know, and I'm also like protecting myself a little bit because I'm scared. Okay, so for today I'm not doing a travel segment, but let me show you my whips, which is work in progress in case you're a newbie knitter or you're here to see travel stuff and maybe you're curious about knitting. There's a lot of acronyms. So, all right, my whips. Now, this is my oldest whip. I don't know, it may be over a year since I've started this. It's the Sea Glass cardigan. All right, this is a very interesting construction because you knit and you cut the yarn every single row. And then apparently there's some process at the end where you fold these ends all into an I-cord, which you don't have to weave them in somehow. It'll be very interesting. But this is I don't know, it's a very slow process with the cutting of the yarn, and you have to, it's just one by one color work. The maroon is the main color, and then, stash busting using other colors. So I don't know, I'm not that motivated by that one at the moment. Then I'm kind of going in reverse order here. That's my oldest work in progress. This is my next oldest. It's the Mountain Bed Crop by Caitlin Hunter. Let's see. I love it. I just get distracted easily. So I have a little more length to do, and then the sleeves, which is usually where I start to lose interest and want to squirrel off to something else. My next is, I have to get this straight here. Where are we? Okay. This is Andrea Mowry's Frost Lines cardigan. And you can see I'm not really good at this knitting thing. I'm not talking about like the yarn, or I don't know, I forget. This one is relatively new. So I know this yarn is Air from Do You Knit, and I'm doing Overcast for the main color and Tang and Saturn for the contrast colors. So I'm almost done with the ribbing on this, and then I'm going to do the button band. Like there's a button band you have to do, and then I got really cool buttons, and then I'll do the sleeves last. But I've never done a button band before, so you have to pick up stitches all along the outside of this. A little scared, but I like to try new things, so I'm excited. And I love the yarn. I love it. Maybe I can show you. Let's see. So this, you can see how it's got almost a little halo. It's a little fuzzy, but it's light. It's considered a worsted weight yarn. It's Air by Do You Knit. It's considered a worsted weight yarn, but I feel like it's a little lighter than that. I feel like it's a little lighter, and it's cotton and wool. So I don't know the exact. I'll get better. Okay, and then the last thing that I just started is the Brooklyn Tea by Tori Yu, I believe. If I'm wrong, I will write it out in editing. This is hard to tell right now, but it's a tea. It's made with 29 bridges, linen. Yeah, I don't know the exact situation with the yarns, so just deal with it. It has a really cute little pattern on the sleeves, and then the rest is just knit in stockinette. So we're just starting that one because I need something lighter to work on. It's very hard to sit, like, I don't have the best air conditioning situation in my house, so it's hard to sit with like these heavy big sweaters on my lap and knit, like I'm sweating to death. So those are my whips. That is my story. That is what you can expect on this YouTube channel. I hope you'll follow along, and I will see you next time.